All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome back. And you're hearing but not seeing us just yet. These are the voices.
Cedric really wants to see the OOTD.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, I'm missing.
Look at. Oh yes, you have a nice solid
What?
line in the middle of your. Here, we can fix that. There you go. All right.
That part of me is missing.
That part of you, Rachel, there's a part of you that's missing today. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Jason Levine here with Rachel Nguyen, missing her middle. And for the next 2 hours, the final 2 hours of day 3 of Adobe Live here, live from San Francisco, we're going to be doing some editing. We're going to be finishing up the vlog video that Rachel started on Tuesday with her journey through Austria. Mm-hmm. And over the last 2 days, we kind of got a taste of sort of how you, in true sense, like how you go through raw footage, kind of make your selects, begin assembling the story, a bit of storytelling by doing some of your voiceover.
Yeah.
Yesterday, it was more focused on really the assembly, telling the story, finding the right shot, all the subtleties of where the cuts should be. And then today, I know you had talked about kind of more maybe doing some of the finesse, maybe adding some color.
Some filters, transitions,
a little bit
some
of
grain,
some sparkle.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, we'll play around with that. And I definitely want to talk more about like kind of the story of this. Because I feel like I was kind of caught up yesterday in like kind of assembling this project.
Right.
But I really want to talk about like what this project meant to me, this one in particular. And also, I think even talking more about like, I do have that YouTube channel that is like very fashion based.
Right.
But I it's a little bit more than that, like there's the technical parts of it.
Absolutely.
And there's also like, that is kind of fashion and it's just very fun to look at. But I think there's a deeper meaning behind it, and I kind of want to talk about that too, especially because this video in particular kind of was for that.
For that purpose. Well, I know, and that was actually a question that we got after hours too, which was I think that people are kind of hungry to hear maybe and hear you talk about as someone who was a fashion vlogger, but really that's kind of that's a foundation of a lot of the things you do. There's more, and how do you make this now fit into those things? Like you showed like your favorite video yesterday. These are two very different videos.
Yes.
If someone even looked at the cut style, they're not really the same, which is awesome. That's part of being a good editor, is having, right? I was watching one of our guests who was recently featured at Sundance, and they were saying, people ask, what do you do? And hopefully you do lots of things. I cut horror, I cut drama, I cut music video, and here it's like it's the same thing. It's stylistically very different.
Yep.
This one has a very different emotional feeling as opposed to the Valentine's lipstick one that I yesterday with the very soft,
which is like more pretty and
right.
fun to look
Well,
at,
and that's awesome too. But it's right, like this still though, it does have kind of your signature even in its raw form.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's definitely a little bit more like cleaner than what I've done before. Like I've never really used tripod like standalone shots for kind of creating a mood and all that stuff.
Well, why would you? You're so steady when you're holding your hands above your head.
Getting a facial.
I still can't quite believe that was you doing that, but
I kind of want to be slightly invisible sometimes.
Okay, yeah, someone at Courtney's saying that grassy sweater stripe.
Wait, it came back. You fixed it. You fixed me.
Oh,
there I am.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I kind of like that. Doo-doo-doo. I kind of lost my train of thought.
As did I. Perfect segue.
To get into it?
That's right.
Okay.
So once again, as we always say, and it's April Diamond's 23rd hour. My God, you are dedicated.
Wow.
Yeah. Tell us where you're from. Tell us where you're watching from. We want to know. We want to know more. And be sure to, ask questions of Rachel.
I'm glad you guys like this sweater. I was actually walking around San Francisco yesterday, like right after I left, while waiting for dinner with my brother, and I was so cold. Like this weather, I cannot deal with it. Like it's not actually that cold because it's like low 60s.
You're telling Rango
I know.
over here, right?
I know.
Now you know what I'm talking about.
But it's just that like bitter, humid cold that just like gets you to the bone.
To the bone, right? I know. 2 weeks ago we were here, and I had flown in from the desert where we had it was still above 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Got here, it was 58.
Oh my gosh.
I'm wearing a scarf and a winter coat, and the Uber driver says, I'm like, where did you come from? You know? And I said, Arizona. He's like, that's ridiculous. I said, no, dude, it's more than a 50-degree temperature drop in less than 2 hours time frame.
That's a lot for your body.
It's a lot for your body.
Anyways, I just picked this up at a thrift store. Now I'm obsessed with it.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
It's awesome. I want to sing happy songs now.
Yes, I made sure to like be all sorts of colorful on my last day. Hi, Chris.
Diego from Portugal. Hey, hey.
Her from Austria again. We're
Very
gonna finish up that video from Austria.
Cedric, of course.
I would love to be in a green blanket though. I think that'd be like really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just want to be floating head.
Floating head. Well, it could be arranged. Did we do that? No, we didn't do that.
No.
We talked about it.
I wonder if I unfold this, if I could like get the green in here and just disappear even more.
Coco from New Jersey. Where in New Jersey? Coco intolerant. Curious. Los Alamos National Lab. Very nice. JK Digi still hanging on?
Hi, Sky. I'm glad you stuck around.
Via Germany today, but not in Finland. I see. Yes, they've got some remote employees now. Very nice.
Look, I have so many liquids here.
We have
right
to
now.
keep you. That was, I think I told you that on day one. Right? This one,
my
of course,
water
will also
bottle.
disappear. Oh, that's actually cool. That's your invisible. It's your invisible drink.
And then I also have a coffee.
Yes. What Rachel's actually trying to say is that at some point she'll be, getting out to.
What?
You're gonna drink all that water over the next 2 hours. We're gonna see what's gonna happen.
Look, I'm the floating head now.
Roland from Singapore. Okay. Yes, Chris, back from DW. Hello, Jesper and Denmark. Wen from Ecuador. Is he from Toronto? There's no, you don't pronounce the T at the end. DW was saying. If you want to convince people, you really know what's up. It's like Toronto.
Toronto.
You take one. Done. Don't say it again. Right.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Reverb mic. Born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia.
Nice.
Very nice. Very
cool.
nice. All right. So, so I think we should get into your edit. And,
should we get into it?
Yeah. Start kind of, again, maybe give some of the new viewers today a little bit of the backstory.
Yes, new viewers. Okay, yeah. So, I have a YouTube channel. I make fashion-y videos, but I recently went to Austria. I kind of have it. I wasn't like going for like a peace, love, pray moment. Peace, love, pray. Is that the right thing? Yeah. But I've been feeling some type of way about like social media in general, kind of all of it, and
all of which you're like intimately part of too. Like that's
right, I mean, ironically, so it's
right.
kind of like how I'm making a living off of it.
Right, but it kind of was getting to you in some way?
It was. So, I mean, this is kind of like a video essay. I still consider it a vlog, like a video blog, or more so maybe even a video diary of like how I'm feeling and stuff like that. Because like I said, this is such a different version of like the content I produce that it can almost look like a little amateur filmmaking, but I'm definitely not labeling this as like a film.
Right.
So it's still a vlog for me. Right. And it was my trip through Austria with my friend from London who we were just recording each other. And, I was inspired by this movie, The Lobster, if anyone's seen it. Which has like a little bit of movie, like, I know. Has anyone seen it since I've mentioned it since Tuesday?
2 people. Right.
2 people. Diego, no, I do not use After Effects. I'm trying though.
We're trying to get her there.
Trying.
Greetings, UK Gunther from Poland. Yes, very very nice.
Gets angry if you
Hashtag
pronounce
relatable,
T.
Rachel. Very nice. Nice. Steph S. Hey there.
But yeah, vlogs are fun.
Yeah.
I like making vlogs too. I do a lot of like normal kind of vlogs. So it's just kind of like. It was just nice not to be like, hey guys, blah 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 blah.
Well, and actually, that is a fundamental difference here is that it's largely POV.
Yeah.
Right? It's actually not you talking to camera, it's POV with voiceover.
Yes.
So it is a step away from kind of the normal thing, which in and of itself is a different type of editing. It's a different way of cutting.
Yeah, very different.
You're literally telling your own story, but now you really have to make the visual pop against the dialogue.
Yeah. And a lot of people ask me like how I get around with like, do I think of the video before I make it and stuff like that, and like I had an idea, but it really didn't end up how I thought it would. It actually ended up all my videos somehow end up being exactly how I feel in that moment. So like this one feels a little bit like really heartwarming but stark, which is kind of exactly how I felt in Austria. Like it was like really pure and like warm and cleansing, but just so like stark to the point where it was almost like off the radar.
Right.
So anyways, who's my favorite designer? Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say.
That's a great question. I'm actually surprised we haven't talked about that. I didn't even ask you that on the Make It show.
Fashion questions.
Right.
I don't know. Let's see. Who am I really like? I like a lot of the smaller labels. Like I really like Sandy Liang. I love that brand Area NYC. So a lot of the smaller brands, and I love.
Any like Mersh ones?
What's Mersh?
Like commercial, just kind of.
I think commercial stuff just like hurts my soul.
That's an honest answer. That's why I'm asking you. I mean,
there's some good commercial stuff, but you know, I mean, like what's commercial?
I mean, you all right? You could say a number of things. Like, was it Isaac Mizrahi who went to Target or something? Like some of those are guys that went to Target. Like,
I mean,
it was sort of high fashion couture, and then went Target, which.
Nothing's wrong with that.
No, I think it's great.
It's amazing to like be like accessible to people, but
not really.
Commercialism kind of freaks me out, but I think it's because I work in the industry and like just see so many like brands come in and out, and then like even going shopping, it's like there's always something you're being advertised to, and I think it just like, especially living in it, really overwhelms me.
Oh, things like Chloe or something.
Yeah.
Like that,
So I kind of go for like smaller things.
That's cool.
Oh, well, you don't like my sweater? Ronaldo, what animal would I be in Lobster? So in the movie The Lobster, you pick an animal that you want to be.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of looking at that flamingo, and I don't think that's a bad choice.
So there's a flamingo.
I think it would be a flamingo.
I forgot there's a flamingo in the studio. All right. Okay.
Okay, so
having said that now, and we'll let the, and I'll kind of feed you the questions as they continue to come in.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get to the edit and start. And now you refinessed a bit of this edit.
Yeah. So
over
it's
last night,
so for the majority of the part, the entire timeline's done. So all we're doing is like really finessing, like changing it frame by frame, stuff like that. I really learned some shortcuts along the way, and I'm going to show it to you.
Sweet. Okay.
I also have a question about another video that I'm working on later. I need some audio help.
Excellent.
So
okay. We can tackle that for you.
Show the flamingo or riot. We should bring that flamingo in.
All right, Cedric. It's the end of the day, so you're ready.
We're the last ones. All right, let's roll my screen.
Oh, we can't. It's immobile.
Oh no. All right. My sweater's being keyed out. I know, it's hilarious. I love it. I didn't do that on purpose, though. This is me as a lobster in the movie. I'm a flamingo. Okay. So we're not so distracted on my missing sweater over here. So yeah, you guys have watched me piece this together from the get-go of like organizing it on day one and like kind of dropping all the clips in, to day two where I was more finessing it, and that maybe I shouldn't have done on camera because that takes a lot of like mental prowess and having to like focus down and not being able to talk. So now we can just focus on like stylizing and making it all cute and stuff. But let's just show it where I'm at. Bloop, bloop.
Very nice. Bloop, bloop. And to answer your question, Tiga, we use Wirecast.
Yes.
Evil Cerise already beat me to it. There you go.
Okay. So, and I changed the song too because I felt like the other song was feeling like a little too sad.
Yeah, there was kind of there was absolutely a melancholy to that other song.
Yeah, a little too much so. So, I found this song and I really like it.
Cool.
Wee.
Dear individuality, I've watched you struggle, thrive, embrace, rebelled throughout all the years. From awkward pubescent years to navigating the transition into adulthood, you've never stopped leaping through adversity and overcoming internal confrontation. Even more now, our world has become so homogenous that a singular screen becomes an estranged mirror to see everything at once.
That clip is still like trying to render.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and turn off the
Turn that off.
stabilization.
Ah.
It's really a mood killer, huh?
I know. You like just when you're about to get into it, it's like, hey.
Now, one tip, and I mentioned this yesterday,
Yes, sir.
FFR for future reference. If you wanted to do that, you could render the previews and then save those previews so that it's always there.
Oh yeah. I'll do it next time.
Next time. Okay. All right,
Sorry,
let's continue.
guys. Didn't mean to break it up like that.
Embrace, rebelled throughout all the years. From awkward pubescent years to navigating the transition into adulthood, you've never stopped leaping through adversity and overcoming internal confrontation. Even more now, our world has become so homogenous that a singular screen becomes an estranged mirror to see everything at once. With these kinds of challenges, it's becoming harder and harder to hang on to your sense of self and aspirations. If for a moment you lose your tracking, it's okay. It's normal. But I want to remind you, it's not impossible to overcome. Step outside of your box and let nature cleanse the soul. Give yourself that immediate mental restart button you so deserve through foreign environmental sensory experience. Turn off your data and be present, allowing the only viewable screen to be the HD window to the world around you. Observe, acknowledge, digest. However, remember not to absorb vapidness so naively that much of our commercialistic living is a forced connection. Instead, emphasize your opinions. Overwhelm yourself with a heightened empowerment. And remember, there's a difference between settling down and keeping the door open. And whatever the case is, when confronted by a version of yourself, do not allow yourself to manifest a guilt that you aren't good enough. My hope is that one day you will know you are always going to be doing your best. You will always fall into good and bad decisions that continue to define you and mold you into the best version of yourself. Ultimately, be kind and open. We don't do that enough. And that healthy interaction with yourself, your space, and the world around you will grow you into something beautiful and unique. Love, Rachel.
That's great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Really came together.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked on it. And like even putting all the pieces together, I was realizing like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough footage to like really fill this out.
Which is funny because at the beginning we're like, there's a lot here, right?
Yeah.
But it's so true. I mean, just when you think you have too much, it's almost never enough.
Yeah. And I almost like always edit to my attention span, which is like subpar. So that's why like a lot of my videos are like really quickly cut because I can only like last that long. That sounded so weird.
No, but I know what you mean. And
so like so editing this video like in all senses of the word, like in the creative process was like way different for me because like
it's no fast cuts.
And I like had to just stay confident that like what I was saying was important enough that I didn't need like quick cut visuals to stimulate people.
Right. And it's again the message, the tone, it's different here, and it's okay.
Yeah,
using your voiceover there. The water scenes are beautiful and relaxing. Nothing tops water. Yeah, I'm really glad you actually worked that whole that combo of like 4 shots. You diving in, swimming by. Yeah, it's great. Like they look really good. And for those of you who don't remember, with the exception of the one of you getting out of the pool, the others were your iPhone in the water.
Yes.
iPhone 7.
I put my iPhone 7 underwater.
No case as it is, and it's the same one you still have here, so it is actually waterproof.
It still works.
Yeah.
I haven't color graded this yet, but I'm going to do that today. I'm not too good at color grading, but I'm really glad that there's like a lot of eyes on this right now to make sure we're going to do this well.
And we're gonna make sure we can find the right combo. So you're going to start with color then?
Yeah, why not? We'll just like work through around this.
Yeah.
Making sure all the clips work well together, but we can chat on top of it. It's not like we have to sit here and listen to.
Yeah. No, you don't need the music either. So now, I was gonna say, are you gonna go into the color workspace?
Color workspace. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. So it looks like you probably modified it. So
did I? I know. Where's the color?
Yeah. So why don't we go into the window menu? Go into workspace at the top, and then go to reset to saved layout.
Well, there we go.
Ding, ding, ding. All right, now I don't know if you ever use the scopes. We can put these away, but we'll keep them up for the moment because there are some shots like this one where, I mean, you can see you've got some clipping. It's okay, but, you know, perhaps bringing some of the highlights down
This part, yeah.
will minimize some of that. Because the previous shot, right, which is the plane shot.
Yeah, it was like much more.
It's like really beautifully exposed. You can actually see there. It's just, and maybe even a little bit of contrast in there because the next shot has a lot of contrast. Right?
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of like finessing on this.
Right. So you know, it's you can decide how much of that you want to do.
The iPhone did not have a water-resistant case. The iPhone 7's advertised to be waterproof.
Right. Yeah, that's why I said there was no casing or special glass or plastic. It's just the phone in the water.
Yeah, just purely. I took my case off to put it in under there.
Right.
Coco wants to know, how did I come up with the framing, or did I plan and film as I went? You know, this one I thought about the framing more, not so much the story, which usually it's kind of the other way around for me. It was harder for me to work like this when I was doing it in post, like putting the story together, because then I realized like you're thinking so much of framing and I'm just not used to kind of thinking in that mindset where like composition's like priority.
Right.
That when sitting down in post, I was like, wow, I did not have enough footage.
Right.
But you know, we were on holiday, we were just messing around. So.
And you know, to Coco's great question there, I mean, I picked up on that and brought it up yesterday too, because I noticed there's a lot of really beautiful sort of compositional symmetry, the tennis court shot, the the shining hallway shots. You know, you really have a lot of stuff that's very shot to you know, maybe they're not adjacent to each other in the timeline, but you have a lot of sort of shot symmetry. This shot too, you know, you're kind of going through the road trees on the side. It's really nice.
Thank you. Yeah. Alex, I did not shoot this all on iPhone. It was just that one shot when I was underwater. And you can see me sideways swimming. Let me see. I'll show you.
The rest you said was 5D Mark III.
Yeah, it was either 5D Mark III or my little Canon point and shoot. This is the shot that I shot underwater, which is crazy because it's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's great.
What is the most random idea you've ever had, and did I make it into a video? Ooh, I have a lot of weird random ideas. I have like a whole list of ideas I've just kept in my journal. I've yet to touch them yet though.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. I still really like my packing video because I like got into the office quite late. And I was just like really inspired by Steve Carell, and I was just like, what would Steve Carell do?
Right. My favorite part of that is where you embrace the clothes.
Like sniffing my dirty laundry.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yeah. Hello, Omar from Egypt. All right.
Let's see. Where do I go for ideas and inspiration? You know, I'm quite on the interwebs a lot. I get inspired by like people doing amazing things or people doing like really boring things, and makes me like want to go the complete opposite way. In this case, like I was inspired by something I didn't like, which was, you know, social media, like and just the fact that we live in a very, very homogenous world. Like everyone's kind of the same in some ways. Like even a lot of brands are conforming, kind of all looking alike. A lot of people are conforming. Like it's all getting really, really the same. Right. And no matter like how unique you are, because there's so many unique people, personalities, and perspectives in this world, immediately like no matter how unique you are, someone's gonna latch onto that and then like
right. It starts to get very derivative very quickly.
Yes, so bad. So that was the inspiration for this film. So it all varies, but a lot of it's actually inspired by like what I'm like not into.
Right. Yeah, no, that's legit.
Just a weird negative, positive way. I'm not sure. So how would you go about color grading this? Because you're right, like that. The highlights just like are just like almost blown.
Right. So what I might do is, I would probably double click on your plane shot there so that it'll come up in source over here. And then let's work on this shot and let's go into the basic corrections and just kind of start by dropping the highlights a bit. All right.
Yeah.
And right away, like, okay, already the sky kind of has a softer
Yes.
quality. Maybe even drop the contrast because you've got real high contrast on this.
Oh, yeah. Wow. See, you're so good.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, that's
Might
nothing. That's
warm
just
it up a
very,
little
very
more.
simple. But, and then, you know, you could play around. I think the saturation is nice. Maybe you, yeah, I was just going to say, maybe you adjust black level, or even if you were in the creative section, maybe give it a little vibrance. But now you can see that it just, there's a bit of a better match.
Yeah,
Yeah, it just
totally.
it's not quite as jarring. And even just, again, dropping the contrast a little bit, a nice, subtle.
Yeah, that really does.
Yeah, I mean, look at the road and look at the sky right there. It's like, it's the same.
You're so right. That's really good. See, I can color correct to some degree, but I wouldn't have like been able to point out like that's the highlight that needs to come down.
Right. Okay. Hey,
But-
that's you know what? That's years of watching a lot of people in our community. To be honest with you, I was.
So yeah, like wait, was that? I'm looking at this little graph thing went down, right? Or
Yeah.
no?
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Much better.
Cool. So that's a better flow.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a moment too.
And
I
it's
feel like
just-
it's a little like too green though, don't you think? Well, I know
Yeah,
it's,
and
like,
again,
green,
so
but-
for that, I mean, and here again, this is just my suggestion. You could do a number of things. Now, do you like to typically work with curves or?
I've done curves in Photoshop, but it kind of scares me in
It's so
video.
this is the same now here. I mean, that's it. So these are reimagined curves. So yeah, I mean, you could pull it down. There you go. Now you got to be careful because you're going to start getting like magenta there. The other thing you could do is, I would be subtle because it is you want to kind of preserve that look. I think now the way you have that, like kind of like that, you've got a nice balance of the blue green. Again, there's a symmetry in the sky. It'll be a nice flow. This is just a beautiful shot. So you might even consider adding a little contrast to this, just a touch or a little
Yes.
bit of black.
Yeah. Okay, let's do that. I have some questions here. Do I keep B-roll or just a single file? Oh, and I missed another one above it. Do you have any advice for avoiding cliches and becoming copycat/derivative? That is such a great question.
It's a great question.
Let's think about that. Avoiding cliches. I mean, I think that in that sense, it's just how do you know it's a cliche to begin with, right? Like, how do you?
Well, and it's, I think, right, because some things are just so, if it's to the point where it's common but accepted, is it cliche? Maybe. I mean, it can be,
Yeah.
It's like rhyming love with dove, it's kind of, or above.
Yeah.
That's kind of bad, but
Yeah, I mean, I always think that like whatever idea you have is gonna be like the first like draft of what you can really create out of it.
Right.
So like, yeah, we all have like initially cliche thoughts, but I think it's almost like taking it that one step further and being like, how can I make this a little bit different, a little bit more unique to what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
And in that sense, as you keep building on like this clip could have been a little bit different that way, or like I could have shot this a little bit different that way, and like the smallest degrees of changes that you make to like very cliche thoughts or like universal ideas that are just easier to make, those small little degrees for all those components put together end up making like a really strong point of view actually.
Yeah. Or you could even take like in terms of sort of video cutting style, a couple years ago, it was very trendy to do like the white flash transition. So between cuts, right? And it still works.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be used for every cut.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sure people like use it for like really like different things
Right.
that are like, whoa, I never thought to do it like
Right,
that.
and even still, and that's when we talked about like, okay, so in lieu of doing something like that, maybe we do a light leak. So you have kind of a blend of moving color,
Yeah.
which could still be a flash, but there's color in there plus white,
Yeah.
plus some opacity shift or something,
Yeah. That little twist.
just to change it
special
up.
twist.
Or maybe do it in a place where it's not expected. I mean,
Exactly.
I think with as you said before, first and foremost, especially with regard to video vlogs, I mean, I don't even remember the number now, it changes, but there's millions of videos published daily. Millions.
That's insane.
It's impossible. Maybe it's hundreds of millions. I forget already. It's millions. We know this.
Yeah.
It would be impossible to reinvent the wheel.
Absolutely.
Every time.
No one, nothing in this world is original.
Right.
My best friend's a lawyer, and he's always told me, like, no matter how creative you think you are, no idea is original.
Right. Yeah. And I think a famous philosopher, like 1,000 years ago, said a similar thing too. It's true. It's really more about how you commit to making that your own, right? And like using it in a way that, is relatable too. Cliche doesn't mean it has to suck.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, cliche is great.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's relatable.
Yeah. It's very relatable.
Nice. Oh, and Skyhawk is a good point. Yeah, fading from black and white to color is an effective way for adding a sense of time and progression. Yes, and that too, Skyhawk. I mean, there was a period where you saw this like in trailers for a while. That very technique, it just got overused. So it became kind of cliche.
Yeah.
But again, now done right, especially with something like this where there's slower pacing, you can make an emotional connection. La la la, Brandon. Thank you very much. That's very kind.
And it's always interesting, like, everything always comes back full circle.
Absolutely.
So it's almost like thinking of like, okay, let's use another cliche that was like, that was
10 years ago.
Yeah,
or
10
whatever.
years ago, 20 years ago, that was like cool then.
Right,
and
then
like
got lame.
Bring it back.
That's right, and bring it back. Right.
Like I like low-key want to dress like Paris Hilton because she's gonna be the next aesthetic.
Right.
Like.
And now at the end of every Rachel's video, you'll see that's hot.
Actually, did you know that's how I came up with That's Chic?
I did not. Seriously?
Seriously. I started my blog 10 years ago. I was in high school.
There you go.
That was like during Paris Hilton's like fading out. It was like the time when she was like partying with like Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, right. Okay. So it was the downward spiral, but nonetheless she was still at that, especially that point in time. I mean, people don't even realize 10 plus years ago, especially here in the US, we were still a couple of years away from, and this is something you said, I'll make it, the Kardashianization of our universe here. We were a couple years away from that. And Paris, though it was kind of the tail end, she was still kind of the it girl for a lot of that stuff, particularly in the tabloids, and That's Hot was her signature.
And that's where I came up with That's Chic.
Interesting.
Isn't that funny?
That's hilarious.
That's
wow.
Great. Now I feel really stoked about that because she's getting cool again.
She actually is. She's suddenly back in the
back.
tabloids again.
Yeah, she's very cool.
And like all things which you just said, you kind of have to. Sometimes you gotta fade out, burn out to be able to come back.
I mean, it's actually crazy that I don't really want to get too far into this, but like, it's kind of crazy that the Kardashians have been on air on a TV show for a decade. That's insane.
It's insane.
It's insane that they still have like this longevity. But I have to say, like, love them or hate them, that is a skill set.
It's absolutely a skill set because they parlayed it into makeup, into a sock line, into the other clothes. I mean, so many things.
iPhone cases.
Right. Accessories, etc.
I think Paris Hilton's cool. Yeah. I think one of her albums, one of my favorites. Stars Are Blind.
Oh my God.
Jealousy.
Stars Are Blind.
It's a good time on that album.
That's some old school right there.
Well, here's a question here. Rachel, you are very inspiring, wear so many hats and do so much all yourself. Where do you find the most challenging aspect? Oh my gosh, if you can't already see like how I operate on a daily basis, I'm like completely scatterbrained. So I don't know how I'm operating, but it's challenging.
Is absolute focus a challenge?
Absolute focus is a huge challenge. Okay. Because I feel like if I was good enough to like just delegate like task and just finish it through rather than like skipping around, which is something I do often because I have like almost too many ideas in my head, I'd probably be like a lot better off, but I just can't think like that.
Yeah, no, that's fine, right? I mean, everybody works differently too. And I think that's kind of part of producing today. I mean, just now when I brought you in, you were like, okay, hold on. You were like typing with this hand, you were texting with this hand, and talking to me. And I think you were, in some way, summoning your drink into your mouth too.
I was like,
I'll be right there. You were, yeah, right.
"Oh, hey, Jason,
Right.
what's going on?"
It was something
I'm
like
coming
that.
here.
I'll be there in 5. Okay.
I know. I feel like I always have this like stare in the back of my head that's like, "Help me."
That's why I
That's
showed
why
up.
Jason always helps
That's why I
me.
showed up.
Were you in the chat last?
I was.
They said that you were flirting with me.
I did
Because
see
Jason
that.
flirts with everybody.
No, don't say that. That's not so. I can't help that I am just smiley and my voice lowers all the time. It's not my
Same.
fault. It's not my fault.
Do I ask friends to act, or I find actors and friends with them? Well, unlike TW, I don't really work on like. She tells really amazing stories and like almost can fabricate it using it like a team of people.
Right.
Whereas like, I think the videos I make are just kind of like very personal, diaristic ways of like my life, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I think it's a similar style, but again, without the team aspect per se.
yes.
Yes, I mean it could be. This one maybe is a bit more collaborative. That's an awesome shot too, by the way. That
Going from here
I was
to
going to
here.
tell you. I mean, you could sort of obscure that letter. I don't know if it's legible when it's full 1080, but that looks like Adobe stock content right there. You should monetize that.
Really?
Beautifully exposed fruit right there.
Oh, thanks.
We had Adobe stock premium photographer Andrew Scrivani on the show here a couple weeks ago, and I think he'd approve. It's very
Wow,
well
that
shot.
was just straight from camera. I have to say that the light in Austria
No,
is
yeah.
like, just it's so insane. It looks like you're on a movie set the entire time.
Yeah,
It's really weird.
yeah.
Someone here's from Austria. Who was it again?
Herr Mulvov, I think, is from Austria.
Oh yeah, it was Hair. I don't know if he's still here, but yeah. I don't know how you deal with like living in a movie set all your life, but that's really confusing.
Yeah, that's a beautiful shot too, actually. Okay, all right, let's get to it because we got a lot, and maybe I mean I'm assuming some we don't need to necessarily fix, but maybe tweak a little bit. You know, again,
Yeah.
I think highlights. There you go, because you can see just by bringing down the highlights there, you recovered the clouds in the sky, right?
Yeah.
So you're really kind of, and again, a little contrast drop there. Now suddenly we see more skin tone, a little less
Yep.
silhouette.
No, not too bright. Maybe make it not so cool.
And the other thing is, in terms of consistency, because your Canon point and shoot by nature is likely to look a little probably sharper, maybe at times a little more digital than say the 5D might.
You think? Well, see, this shot's on the 5D, which is like very crisp.
Right. It's super clean. But what I mean by that is sometimes you can add. We were talking about this yesterday. One of our film stock LUTs,
Oh yeah.
and that takes the edge off entirely.
I think what I want to do is kind of finesse each shot on its own, and
Yeah.
then do an adjustment layer over the whole thing.
That would be the way to do it. Thinking like a colorist.
Like thinking like a Adobe Queen with K.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, wait, we had that in the chat yesterday.
So I think this shot, like, what is it about this shot? It looks a little too.
Um,
It's a little too.
To be honest, I don't love the composition, personally, and you're right. It looks too digital. It looks like you shot it with a phone, even though that's actually 5D.
Yeah.
So perhaps do the same techniques we just did and see if that helps. If you get it just about there and it still isn't right, let's go into the creative tab and see about adding a film LUT on there
Okay.
and see if it takes the edge off. Because
I'm
this
also
to me,
gonna do a nice little blur too. I feel like maybe like just blurring out the.
I think you're right, to soften it a bit, because it's a little too. It looks like it was shot at f8 or f10.
Would you do Gaussian? Let's try Gaussian.
Sure.
Stick it in there. Yep. Let's see. That did something, right? Yep, it did. Maybe too much.
Yeah.
That definitely helped a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like. And you know what it is? Maybe it's just like I need warmth in here.
Well, that's it too, because you're going from something that's very warm to something that is definitely cool. And again, you can see you still have
There
the
we go.
whites there are a bit they're a bit blown out, and you're really getting kind of a blue reflection on the white bed sheet there.
Yeah.
So again, I think you might want to just try a film LUT just to see how it affects it.
How big of a cast have I worked with at a given time? Actually, I haven't really worked with a cast. I think the cast is just me, myself, and I. Yeah, that kind of flattened the image a little bit, which, yeah, that looks way better.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Color correcting can be fun if there's like way more eyes on it. Sort of to do with the headshot. Same thing you notice when you're looking at a badly taken photo. Yeah, I can see that Skyhawk.
Right. And that's why I'm saying that the composition of this one, right?
What if I punched in a little bit too?
So you could push in, or you don't want to border it, but right, because and like this, right?
Yeah.
There's just some distraction. So if you push in, scale up a little, you can eliminate that, and you might be somewhere between, just at the top of the middle of your forehead, kinda.
Did it punch in? Or did I accidentally punch in this shot? No. Oh, it did. It did punch in, right? No, it didn't. What did I just punch in?
Let's go to your head. Well, you can just undo it and make sure you didn't, do anything. And you're on the right clip now.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah. That's like too much.
And let's move this over, yeah? Nope. Not down right now.
Maybe even do like a slight rotation so you straighten out the door edge.
Yeah, or get it out all the way.
Yeah.
Because you're right, that door edge was like bleh.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I can rotate it from here.
Mm-hmm. So let's see.
Yep, much better.
Yeah.
Good call, guys. Yeah. I like this. Yeah. Woo. Yeah, Skyhawk, that was yours and Jason's call. I'm really happy with this. I think we can move on to the next one. So this one's really blown out. Yeah. The highlights are like blop.
Yeah. Now, this is a case where it is completely blown out. If you go to Lumetri, you'll see it's just going to be, see, it's just flat lined at the top here. And you've also got total black. So the highlights, we can't really recover much. You saw it brought back a little detail in the window. However, if you drop the contrast, you'll be able to bring back a little bit of detail, and you'll see you're going to lift those shadows.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very, very cool.
And it'll actually start. And this is one where if you go bounce to creative real quickly, you can maybe even add a little bit of faded film there, which is going to give it a little even more sort of a softer finish.
Oh wow, that's really nice.
Yeah.
What is intensity?
That's intensity of the LUT. You haven't applied a LUT. So if we try to film LUT on there, which by the way, some of the film LUTs can recover some of the blown out highlights. They'll soften them. Yeah. So
should we tint this? I think no, the shadows are good. The highlights are a little green though.
Right. So you can kind of push them. Yeah, you got to be careful, right?
Oh my god.
Not that much.
That's looking better. I see chat going off. Oh yeah, the ASMR. I'm just gonna talk like this. The session. It's my favorite.
Oh, very nice, Chris. Well done. Animating to your subscribers in AE. That's awesome.
Looking good. So are you heading back home tomorrow?
I am.
Are you excited?
Yes. I'm not in the desert for too long. My body just doesn't know what to do.
What's the weather like in Arizona right now?
I think it's not crazy hot. I think it's maybe just under 100.
Nice.
Ish, and no humidity. I'm gonna look now because now I'm curious.
Yeah, look up LA weather.
All right,
too.
it's 101.
Oh my goodness.
So that's for me. That's perfect.
Oh.
And 15% humidity. Yeah. Here, just by comparison, 64 degrees. We're talking Fahrenheit, of course. So it's almost a 40-degree difference, and 76% humidity.
Here.
Here.
Oh
So
my gosh, what's LA?
LA. Let's see.
Wait, Chelius wants to know if I know Sam Colder. I can't say I do. Or is she asking you?
78. Oh, Sam Colder, the YouTuber?
Is he a YouTuber?
Yeah.
I don't know him.
Nice, Joanna. Love my desert. That's right. 101 is great. Nice and toasty. That's right.
Oh my
See?
gosh.
You get it.
I can't.
100 degrees at night. That's what it's all about.
I do like warm summer nights, so that is nice.
And there's no. Oh, we got Amirai too. Nice. Yeah, and there's no humidity, so it's like you're out there. It's just.
Anyone from LA?
You gotta have some LA in here. So like, you hear me? It's like 78.
Yeah.
Yeah.
78.
And sunny.
And
no
perfect.
clouds. Yeah, there's no clouds.
Oh, see, come on, that's why
Yeah.
we love LA.
That's right.
It's like perfect weather.
All right. Yay, Joanna.
Oh my god. LA is 80 with 63 right now. Wait, is it 63 to humidity? That's what you're
I didn't look at the humidity. No, I saw it said 78 degrees, so maybe their phone is showing 80 or whatever. Yeah.
April.
83 right now.
That
Nice.
sounds so nice.
Maybe April's in the valley. It's a little
I know.
hotter.
I don't want to be wearing a turtleneck right now, but I'm just so cold. Fahrenheit doesn't make sense.
You know, it's funny, Juan Pablo. I was talking Celsius with DW on Tuesday, and she's like, I do Fahrenheit. So I switched back to Fahrenheit.
Did she?
Yeah, so I normally always used to speak in Celsius because we were in Europe like 2/3 of the year. So.
The shot kind of cracks me up. I kind of want to
I
change
was
it
gonna
because
ask you, what is it, like a hamster and going? What is
No.
this shot?
This is me laying down when I was getting my facial and holding my camera extremely still.
Where's your head? What am I looking at here?
I'm pointing down. Okay.
Those are your feet.
That's my feet.
I thought. Okay, so wait
So
a second.
I need to change that shot.
Wait. Before you do
Yes.
anything, I thought these were your shoulders, and that was like a turtleneck, and it was something was poking out of there. Now I look at it again. I'm like, oh, that's your feet. I didn't know what. I didn't know we were looking at.
Oh.
8 degrees, Dominic, in Iceland. Very nice. Terry White was just in Iceland.
Wow. I want to go to Iceland. You know, I need to change that shot because you're right.
Why?
It's like such a confusing shot. And not only that, like, even if you do know what that shot is, it looks exactly like the mood it is, where it's like, remember how it's like a little like you've been.
Yeah, it's a little odd. Now, the one thing it does share is that, and Gus is saying, I see it that way now. The one thing that it shares, again, is that you have that kind of, you've got that symmetry with many of the other shots, you know, which I
Yeah.
like. But yes, I'm not going to lie to you. It was, since you showed it Tuesday, I'm like, what is that? Is there a hamster in your turtleneck? What is this?
What am I saying in the shot? Let's see what I can replace it with.
Hamster in your turtleneck.
Throughout all the years. From awkward pubescent years to navigating the transition into adulthood, you've never stopped leaping through adversity.
What about the seesaw shot? I haven't used that.
Oh, you could go to the seesaw shot. Hey, and by the way, one more thing. I wanted to actually bring this up because I'm noticing now, by the way, and as we add LUTs, the Lumetri scopes are actually pretty heavy processor-wise. So yeah, don't leave those open while we're doing that because your playback, you can leave them open. I'm just saying that's why it was kind of dropping some frames there.
Oh, I see.
Because it is pretty heavy to process. But we were talking about system specs yesterday, right? Because your machine was having some trouble. And I was talking about RAM, and I was saying, well, I think, if I believe, that the minimum still for Premiere 2017 was 4 gigs, which frankly it's too little anyway. We can cut over to my screen real quick, dude. So I happened to, it's funny, there was an email going around today internally where some customers online have been asking about the specs. So here are, and since you're on the Mac, I'll just pull this up, the actual specs, the recommended. Now again, recommendations, these are minimums, right? This is minimum. The minimum recommended spec is 8 gigs of RAM.
Wow.
So, which these days that's nothing, but I thought it might even still be 4, but that kind of speaks volumes because of course we're in a 6K, 4K, 6K, 8K world, and you're just not going to be working smoothly 4K or greater, certainly with 4 gigs, really let alone 8. But I thought this was kind of interesting. Also something to note, which has been the same for quite some time, the minimum display size for Premiere. And really, performance-wise, at this level is not spectacular. I would typically recommend, honestly, a 1080p at a minimum. And yeah, as Skyhawk just pointed out, 16 gigs is absolutely what you want, and anything more than that really just makes the process better.
But you can also get, just like how I have the external hard drive for like my memory.
Yeah, well, that
little SD card.
That's right. So for storage, but I just meant like actual in computer RAM. So yeah.
Oh, but were you talking about like that thing that you put in your?
Yeah, that's right, and that's because your actual hard drive space is limited. So you only need 8 gigs of hard drive space to install the app. Right. You only have 128 total. So yeah, that's where we could use the SD card or your drive here.
Gotcha.
And then on Windows, for our Windows friends, it's effectively the same. The recommendation is 8 gigs, 16 recommended. Interesting to point out, though, for those using Windows, is that we still support Windows 7 and 8 and 10, whereas on the Mac, we only go back to Yosemite v1010. 10.10.5 is probably what you'd want to be on if you were still using Yosemite. I mentioned this the other day. I was actually still on Yosemite up until just a few weeks ago, until my machine just died, and I had to send it back to Apple, and in the process wound up having to upgrade to Sierra. It's it's getting old and it's road worn, but it came back. It came back, but it meant having to upgrade the OS, and it's actually been just fine since. So. And Andrew has just popped back in the studio.
Yeah, you're still here.
One more time.
You don't want to leave. You don't want to leave Adobe.
We don't want him to leave.
Chelius wants to know: do you also make color grading today? So you add a LUT or something like that.
Yeah, so we were just talking about that. So maybe with some of the shots,
sorry.
we might add some LUTs just to see what kind of variations we can come up with.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where a lot of times you still might do a little, because we're doing this shot by shot, and then what Rachel was saying is at the end we'll use an adjustment layer to either apply a LUT or kind of just an overall look to everything once everything's been individually treated. So this is kind of the recommended way, just for shot consistency. This is you saw with the opening shot in the airplane, perfectly exposed, low contrast, beautiful light, highlights were again exposed properly. Cut to the driving down the road shot, nearly blown out highlights, and just too much saturation, too much contrast.
Yeah.
So it was just too much of a jump so early on in the edit. Now the previous one that you had, looking through that little window there, or rather
This one?
the stabilized shot, it's okay in that context to have something such high contrast, because we've kind of moved on, and you also have the benefit with the previous shot here. Now we may still do a little bit of tweaking to this, but again, you've got that sort of hallway rectangular consistency, which maybe we can fix a little with some cropping and zooming there too.
Yeah, should we do that right now?
Even out the space. Yeah.
What would you do? Should we punch in just?
I'd probably scale it up just a bit, just to recompose it. And this is, again, we talked about this Tuesday, but this is. Do you ever, when you're shooting, you don't really shoot with the iPhone though, generally.
No, but I love the iPhone.
Yeah. I mean, so like the underwater stuff, was that 1080 or was it 4K? I guess it was 1080 because you didn't convert it. Yeah. So, I mean, and we've all talked about this, but that's really where in something like this, where your delivery is going to be 1080 anyway, if you can shoot it in 4K, it's just going to give you more ability to push in without losing any detail and recompose and reframe, because you're in a 1080 timeline anyway.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, but here I think it works, and actually that contrast looks nice.
Got it. Frances is not going to be stoked on like how red her face looks right here, so I have to.
Now this is one where I might say like a film LUT might actually be very nice here.
Should we just like do that right here?
Yeah, let's do it. So go into Creative, and the best way to do it is, now you can see there's
This box right here?
So you can click on the right arrow, and it'll start cycling through different LUTs. And you see like the Fuji Kodak, so that one right, yeah. So that first one, right? You can see it, and if you click in it, it'll apply the LUT, right?
That's really nice.
And it just takes the edge off. You notice it drops the contrast a little bit. It just looks a bit softer, but not soft. You know, the wood has a nicer aesthetic, and yeah, and that's where the intensity comes into play.
Gotcha.
And you can still go into basic and drop or cool the temp, or, you know, again, drop contrast further, or play around with the contrast a little bit more. And some of these I think will benefit because the point and shoot just has a little bit more contrast, and it's just a little more digital. We did a thing where we're doing a lot of footage with GoPro, and, you know, GoPro is by nature, it's very sharp, it's very saturated, it's very contrasty, it's very 4K,
sporty looking.
Sporty, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, that look doesn't work for everything.
Totally.
So some of these LUTs, in particular, some of the film stock
really
emulations,
helps.
it just takes the edge off. You know?
Yeah. Actually, Coco, I saw that edit idea. She said to put the shot where we're going down the stairs with the seesaw after it, so it kind of like moves. So that could be really cool.
Shot content, like motion continuity.
Motion continuity.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like I need to put a LUT on this now because, well, I don't remember putting down the there.
Samsung for Life, Spectre. I saw Spectre, Steph. I was thinking initially you meant the movie. I wasn't sure. Just reading back up now.
Yeah, it's really nice though. Is there a way that I could target like just a color component, like?
Yeah, right here. So in this hue section, so you could either plot the points for red or click on red, and now if you pull down the center, it's only gonna, it'll start pulling down the reds. You see?
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. And this is where, and you can then adjust the range, right, between the 2 points there. So if it's kind of getting a little too muddled there, you can modify some of that. And you can have multiple points across the graph there. And then you can further, again, as you just did, go into the curves if you want, RGB curves.
So I can uncheck all these and see what it looked like before.
Yeah.
And here's with a little bit of like adjustment there, then with the LUT. Bam. Bam.
And then with the reds pulled out. Yeah, I mean, look at that right away.
Yeah, that
she
looks
doesn't
great.
look sunburned now, you know.
Yeah.
That's healthy but not sunburned, you know. Yeah.
Oh, is this sound off right now? Are we like off tune?
No, I think they're saying your sound, the computer sound.
Oh yeah, sound is off. Oh yeah, so how do I copy the effects and the coloring in this shot?
Yeah. So
Apply
let's
it.
just right click on that clip, and you're going to choose copy, and then go to the next clip that you want to paste it to, and make sure your playhead is over it just so we know that that's what we're looking at. And you can do it to multiples and do paste attributes, and then choose. So I don't know if you did any motion or scaling, or so uncheck the stuff you don't need, but keep Lumetri and click OK, and boom, there you go.
Bam. That's very nice.
Yeah. And you can see with the film LUT, now you have kind of this, like the wood also, it feels...
It's like creamy.
It is. It is. That's exactly it. It's creamier, a little grainier. It's really, really nice.
Now we know, Coco.
Okay. Oh, you're saying the sound is off in YouTube, as in sync. Oh, well, that stinks.
Oh, so what we're delayed in sound?
All right. Well, that's a bunch of poo, but unfortunately, there's really nothing we can do at the moment. Maybe try refreshing. Is everybody seeing that? I'm gonna start weeping.
I'm just gonna drink like one of my 4 liquids I have here.
Well, we got another hour, so yeah.
Everyone's juggling in front of us. It feels like Friday to everybody,
Balls.
apparently. Yeah, please.
Oh, nice one-handed juggling. Paul, I've never been able to do that.
I've just never been able to juggle in general.
Yes, creamy and grainy are definitely two different things. So I was saying it is creamy in terms of its color, but grainy in the sense that you're getting kind of that film grain, lower contrast aesthetic. It's kind of doing both things with the changes that she made. April, it's only off if you stare at our mouths. That's That's legit. We're also, shrunken down into the corner there, so.
Maybe we'll just do this
All right.
so no one can see us.
Mostly out of sync. Pretend it's an old school. That's right. Coco has a great idea. Let's just pretend this is a film strip.
Hello.
I can keep that going forever, by the way.
Well, don't stop.
I literally mean I can keep that going forever. That's right. Little delay from the YT bug. All right. Thank you. 5 seconds slower than the audio? 3? Oh boy, that's really bad.
Man.
All right. Well.
Oh, it's
really
YouTube.
sorry.
Always
Yeah,
blame it on YouTube. YouTube is just not.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, friends. Reverb mic. It looks like an old kung fu movie. That is. That's very awesome. That's a great reference, actually.
Are you guys leaving?
I think they're just chilling. Oh yeah. But anyway, you can continue to cycle through to find one that works. Either via, you just saw the drop-down menu, or just kind of clicking through. And we've got about 10 or 12 of those film LUTs.
Yeah, it's like a really nice little subtle touch. Just pop that red a little bit.
Now this is one where, again, did you already tweak this one?
I have
in
not.
Basic?
What would
Okay.
you do?
Well, just kind of looking at your shoes, they look a little hot. And not in the Paris Hilton way. So yeah, look at that. Look at how much detail you just recovered on your shoe with a single slider. And then drop that contrast a little. It's like, oh wait.
Drop that contrast.
Drop
Drop
it.
that contrast. That contrast. Drop that contrast.
Yeah. Which is going to be horrible now because it's terribly out of sync on screen. But
I'm not that offbeat.
no. I meant my clicking. Yeah, that's nice. And look, now you have even more detail in the trees too. And you could probably, again, if you go just click twirl up creative again, do a little vibrance as opposed to saturation, which is really just going to accentuate the colors that are sort of primarily in the shot. So just to give a little bit, we took some of the edge off. You could probably even drop the highlights a little bit more if you wanted, but.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's just drop that down. Yeah, drop that down. It's very contrasty still.
Yeah. And we've had a couple of different editors and colorists on here who've often said sometimes when you're sort of getting into it, don't hesitate to drop it all the way and then bring it back. You know what I mean? To kind of just see what you have to work with.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much right now.
Yeah.
And I'm the one being supposed to give tips, but you're giving them.
Well, yeah, but that's what this is all about.
Does this have brightness versus exposure?
So this is camera exposure. So that's really what you want because it's doing it in proper stops. So again, if you feel like you're trying to make it brighter, here's where I would say you could actually probably increase the highlights a little bit or adjust the black level.
Oh, I see.
That way, exactly. Right.
Oh, yeah. That's nice.
Which also you saw that sort of takes the edge off too. And now you're revealing a little bit more detail in the strap and some of that. And then you still have control over saturation and vibrance. So that looks pretty sweet, actually. That looks great.
I'm getting good.
Yeah.
What's the difference between saturation and vibrance?
Yeah. So again, saturation is going to increase the colors, all colors sort of simultaneously, and vibrance, I don't know the exact MO here, but the vibrance is really enhancing the colors that are sort of primarily
In the skin tone range?
No. Just the ones that are sort of primarily present in the shot.
Yeah.
So, if you've already got deep reds, deep blues, deep whatever,
I see.
the vibrance is going to accentuate those, whereas saturation is kind of bringing up everything simultaneously.
I did see that thing
outside
that Chris
of the
is
skin tone
saying.
range.
Sorry.
Yes, Brandon.
Chris is saying there was this YouTuber that sued another YouTuber and I was watching that a little bit. He basically was like talking about another YouTuber on his channel, and he kind of, I haven't watched his channel, but I think he kind of did like a parody-ish video. Brandon, you could probably tune in and let everyone know, but he tried suing him, and then he just won the lawsuit, but it was all about like having fair usage rights. And anyways, it's super interesting. I want to look more into it.
What did he copy?
He didn't even copy anything. He just used the guy's name and like mocked his likelihood.
Oh, well.
Something like that. I didn't look too much into it. I was a little busy.
Was it like a defamation lawsuit or something like that, or likeness that you're saying?
I don't know if it was for defamatory reasons, but I think it might have been more of like, I think it was just usage rights.
Yeah, interesting. You know, so much of that, I don't know how we got onto that, but so much of that is really in flux these days, because it's really a new world on the interwebs. And Qua, remember the pronunciation. Yeah. I still do, if I actually have to do a shot match and it's too painful to do it manually, although Lumetri makes it pretty darn easy, or certainly easier these days, I will periodically pop into SpeedGrade and leverage its shot match feature, which hopefully we'll see in the Lumetri panel.
Jason, what's the Adobe Creative song?
It's a song that's available on Spotify, and it's called Gather the Crowd.
Oh, Gather the Crowd. Shout out loud. Creative Cloud. Got stuck in my head, in my brain. Oh wait, never mind.
Right. I think there's like verses too. That's just the chorus. But very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're paying attention. Nice.
Yeah. I'm also just reading the lyrics.
Or retouching. Oh. Okay. You didn't really know it, did you? All right. It's all right. Fair enough, but thank you, Chris, for quoting that. Or retouch me, Cedric. Yeah, actually, Cedric, I found a clip of performing Retouch Me. We were doing something else on Twitch probably a year ago, and I'm singing it alongside accompanying myself on bass, and I think I'm gonna stick that up on my channel just as like an outtakey thing. It was really neat. It was fun. I still need a new vocalist for it.
Bye.
You taking off, man? Okay. All right. Everyone, again, let's thank Andrew Embry for being here, for his brilliance, for his presence. Thanks, man. Yes, Qua, I really hope it gets that. And I know it's high up on the list. People want that. I'm the first to say I'm way better now, and I've learned from some of the best. Simon Walker, Robbie Carmen have taught me so much about color correction, color grading. But even still, I sometimes struggle with, like, why can't I get this hue right? It's just
always.
Yeah, it's
especially when you just stare at it too long. Yeah, I already feel like I'm at the point where I've stared at this too long and I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
No, absolutely. And that's not my sort of foundation, so it just takes me longer. Oh, Brandon, your favorite was the Tutu monster.
How big is Adobe Max? It will be my first time this year. I'm really excited.
Adobe Max is huge. So last year was our record attendance, and when I did my thing and sang, "Gather the crowd, shouted aloud, Creative Cloud," there were approximately 11,000 people there.
Oh my gosh.
This year in Vegas, we expect it will be even bigger. And I think, do we still have early bird reg for Mac? I think we're past that now. Yeah, okay. But you can still register for Adobe Max, and it's the best. It's an opportunity to be, among 10,000 plus of your fellow peers in virtually every creative discipline, from UI, UX, web design, editing, motion graphics, animation, music, all facets of editing, fashion. It just everything. It really runs the list, and it's amazing. And it's amazing to meet your peers, and of course, you can take classes in anything. Really anything.
Oh, there's a contest right now. To go to Adobe Max? Oh, my contest.
Your
the one to win
contest.
$1,000.
That's right. So
1 year of Adobe Creative Cloud, which
Cloud.
means all of the apps.
all of the apps, and you also have the opportunity to win, a 1-to-1 with Rachel and or Julesy. So yeah, please click on the URL that Cedric and Nightbot just put in the chat there. Hashtag make it impactful. And okay, thanks Evil Cerise. Yeah, April 6th. All right, it was a little off. David Bowie fashion, totally. Totally. Also, that high note at the end, very unexpected yet impressive. Very impressive. Thank you, Coco. That's live, non-planned. That just happens.
New features this year, eh?
So Kwa, I can't.
This is the last show of the day. So.
I can't tell you. There's always something. You can always expect something new. I think it's fair to say that. Always expect something new at Adobe Max. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we have, traditionally we always have Max Sneaks on day 2. And that's really where people get to see the engineers appear on stage and show off technology that we're making, like in the Adobe Labs, And so, Chris, do they also talk about the next version of Adobe Apps, like at Premiere, CC 2018 comes, Microsoft Windows? Yeah, yes. So there are, obviously, we never really talk about stuff that isn't out yet, but at Max in general, certainly in the keynotes and in day 2, that's where you get the, Paul's just doing a little feng shui here on the, on the table.
I was really proud of having 4 liquids on my... I'm just kidding.
Okay, we got more if we need more. But anyway, yes. So yeah, Chris, certainly in the keynotes, that's where you get to see and hear about stuff that's coming. And, sometimes it's, we talk about when it's coming and such. So yeah, a lot of sneaks, lots of stuff, a lot of opportunities to learn about, what's been working on, what we're working on.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's
And is
fun.
it always in Vegas?
No. So it moves around. So last year it was San Diego, which in my IMHO was the best location ever.
Where in San Diego?
It was at the SDCC.
The convention center?
Yeah. And now, so years prior, we had it in LA. And it was
Yeah.
held at the Microsoft Theater. And then in the convention area right there, at Downtown Live. And it was great. We had our residency there for 5 years, Paul, I think, in LA. So this year it's in Vegas, and next year it'll be in another location.
Oh my god, I love Ashton the Best 2004. 1, that is a great username. 2, I love the Windows XP logo. And 3, I don't know if anyone else uses Windows XP, but I appreciate that. Just like we were talking about earlier, there's always a cycle. I feel like Windows XP is going to be like the cool, like lo-fi look. I think it already kind of is with like the iconic.
Yeah, it is. No, that's it. It's iconic. It was, 95 was cool because it was Windows 95, and it was kind of their first attempt at kind of borrowing the Mac concept a bit, right? Windows, right? That was kind of the whole thing there, having Windows, that concept versus DOS. But 98. Yeah, XP rather, no doubt. XP kind of made it its own thing.
Totally.
98 was kind of an extension of 95. XP was super duper.
I think XP was the last Windows operating system I used before I transitioned to Mac
OS,
forever.
yeah. It was the last one that I hung on to for a very long time because the ones in between. What was the?
Are you feng shui? What is this?
What was the one? Remind me what came after XP in 2000.
Not just me.
It was nightmarish. There's all kinds of stuff going on in the studio right now. What up, Kibosh?
It's because it's like
And
Friday.
thank you,
for
Cedric.
everyone.
That's very, very nice of you to say more. Lots of nice stuff. Thank you. And yes, Coco, all done in audition.
XP is lit.
You've started a thing now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Started a thing. XP was great. That's right, next to the Staples Center.
Wait, so where is it going to be in Vegas? How many people are in this chat are going?
Yeah, let us know. Vista, yes, Cedric. Oh boy,
Oh, what did Vista look like?
Vista was just a disaster.
Can I
Vista
look
was
it
a
up right now?
disaster.
No, I
That's
can't
enough.
be distracted.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Everyone's chiming in now. Dominic, Rox, FS, Qua, LNL. Yeah, Vista was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare.
What did it look like?
It looked
Can
like
I look it up?
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Yeah, here, okay, you can look it up. I mean, Vista was kind of the... Yeah, it was, oh, and then there was Windows Me. Don't forget Windows Me. That was also just, it never even caught on. But it was just meant to be kind of like a more
Oh, I remember what
graphical... In fact, I think it was when they sort of introduced that expanded start screen, which was just... Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I do remember Windows Vista. I used it.
I'm sure,
so
right.
I lied.
All machines had it for
Windows
a while.
XP was
yeah.
my last
no,
one.
XP was fantastic. XP Service Pack 3 for you super ultra nerds out there. That just worked, and it was lean, and it was fantastic. That's right. Coco, I'm sorry. So yeah, this year Adobe Max is in Vegas, and it's actually being held at the Venetian.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
I love Vegas.
Do you?
I love Vegas. I love Paris Hilton. I mean, I think innately I would like Vegas.
They sort of go together. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then I also like Windows XP, so that's all.
You're totally going
it's
retro
all
right
the
now.
aesthetics.
Vista, the horror.
Splash screen we
Reverb
had
mic.
when Chuck Anderson, otherwise known as No Pattern, did that splash.
That's
screen.
right. That's
For,
right.
Windows
And He
XP.
mentioned it on the low. Was like, oh yeah, and I did the splash. screen.
That's right.
That would be after my name when I meet you.
Right.
Wait, what splash screen?
Like
The
just
wallpaper?
first of
Right. Do you remember the bird? Like when
what
you'd
you
boot
see
up
iconically.
and you'd see that Windows XP on
Oh.
screen.
Oh.
This guy did that. Yeah. Really super cool. Dominic, what about Europe events? Yeah. So I mean, we used to have Adobe Max Europe. Sadly, we don't do it anymore. We only have the one, and it's internationally attended, of course. It will be live streamed, so you will be able to tune in and see it. And we do still have regional events. You know, Paul and I and my colleague Terry White, we used to come to Poland many times a year. We had fantastic experiences there, and we miss it. So who knows? Maybe one day we'll return. But for now, you get to experience us in 1080p. Coming to you
You're
live.
like such a celebrity. You need to spread you guys both.
Well, thanks, Rach.
Yeah.
That's really nice. That's right.
Yeah, Paul's doing acrobatic things. In
Paul's
front of us.
like working out here, and
Yeah,
watch
he's-
that cup of water, which is is that glass?
No,
It's plastic. Okay.
but still.
Still water in a studio that has cables everywhere.
He's been juggling and doing handstands, and I'm just sitting here trying to color correct.
Skyhawk. So yes, the next live stream actually will be in German, live from the German office, and is that next week, Paul? The German live stream? Adobe Live Germany, I think it's either next week or the following. If you go to it's also simulcast on the Creative Cloud YouTube channel, I believe. So if you're subscribed to Creative Cloud, you should see you should see that it's pre-scheduled. Like even if you have the Creative Cloud the YouTube app on your phone and you're subscribed, it'll show you who's doing what on what days. Do you know, Chris? The German live stream, is it next week? Okay, we'll confirm that for you.
Paul
I
had
could confirm
too much coffee.
Well, getting left
September 12th to the 14th.
Well, that's our XD stream for US.
Oh, right. Okay. And September 12th to the 14th is the XD stream for the US. Yeah. Okay. That's a different one. But that's not the German one. We have a German live stream. I can't remember when it is. Okay. 19th to 21st. Okay. So that's the, and that's also based around UI, UX. So you'll want to tune into those. Though that will be the next one, which actually seems like far away, but we're getting very close to IBC. So thank you, Evil Cerise, for the link. I knew you'd find that on YouTube there. Coco, better learn some German. Yeah. And our colleague Rufus Steuchler, he'll be hosting lots of that, all of that. So and really fantastic. So you'll definitely want to check that out. Oh, and there was a German live stream today too. That's right, Cedric. I forgot.
Good times.
Yeah. Chris, instead of drinking coffee, you drink your pre-workout or performance shake? Yeah, you know what? So since I've especially almost eliminated coffee.
You did?
Yeah. Well, I mean, aside from I had a little bit more than usual today, but I'm down to like 2 cups of New York deli coffee a day is what I call it.
Oh,
down from 12
okay.
espressos a day.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But that was part of my whole workout, fitness, life change routine.
Oh,
But,
I see.
I had a point. I just lost it. Oh, but I can't drink any coffee or anything like that pre-workout. I eat a lot, but no. I did it like the first week or two. Quad venti, 3 quad ventis a day. That's right.
Was it iced or?
Or hot. I mean, yeah, I'm iced in Arizona because
Yeah.
it's the desert. But yeah, here, hot, sure.
Wow.
April, no, please. I wouldn't be scared. Come up and say hello. That would be fantastic. The pleasure would be mine.
He's so, he's Jesus. Adobe Jesus.
That was the hashtag someone came up with.
So suiting.
Oh, thank you. Oh, nice. Starbies. Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, I'm not afraid to say it. I wouldn't say that I'm a recovering Starbucks addict because I just love it and want it, and I'm not giving it up entirely, but it's certainly a fraction, you know. And yes, Chris, I drink easily 4 liters of water a day. That's my desert self. It's crazy. Oh yeah, Steph. Adobe conventions are definitely fun, and Max is, the other really great thing about Max, all kidding aside. So aside from so many people, your peers, being able to take classes, meeting people, whether it's YouTubers, vloggers, people a lot of famous, familiar faces will be there presenting. But don't also forget the very well-known Max Bash. Have we announced the bands? Come to think of it, Paul?
Bash?
Yeah, so the second night of Max, we have a huge party. And last year we had, which bands did we have last year? Alabama Shakes.
No, you guys did not.
Yeah, we did. And Mowgli. Yeah, Alabama Shakes and Mowgli. The year before that we had, help me, Paul. Who was it the year before that? Fits in the Tantrums. Yeah.
Cool.
And then the year before that we had we've had some
We can talk about all the ones we've had in the past.
Yeah. Weezer.
What? That's
Kings of Leon, that's right. 2-3
my
years ago.
gosh,
Kings of
so
Leon. They were
amazing.
They were
I bet.
amazing.
Did you guys ever have Coldplay?
We did not have Coldplay.
They're so good.
They would be awesome.
So you guys haven't announced the bands yet?
Haven't
it sounds
announced
like.
it yet, yeah.
When do you guys find out?
No, but you're right on.
When do we all?
Yeah, no. So honestly, the Bash is off the hook. It's great.
Am I going to that?
Cage the Elephant. Thank you, Gus. Fits the Tantrums and Cage the Elephant.
Am I invited?
Who is? John Favreau? Is he one of our on day 2? Yeah. Oh, nice. So John Favreau is going to be there. John Favreau, who of course, he's done a million things, but most recently he's Mark Ronson. Yeah. John Favreau was executive producer of all the Iron Man movies. He plays Tony Stark's assistant, but he's the producer. He's amazing. I mean, he's been just in so many things. Many will remember him originally from Swingers and stuff, but with Vince Vaughn. But John Favreau's amazing. And was it Dinner with Friends or Dinner with Five? I can't remember that series he did, but he's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, Chris, I'll miss you too. I'm on the YouTube though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for Adobe Max. This sounds very promising.
Max is
It's also in Vegas, which I love Vegas.
Yeah. Thank you, April. We appreciate you too.
We appreciate you very much.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Alice Cooper. I mean, I just saw Alice a week ago.
Do you have that photo? Can you pull it up?
I do. You want to see a photo of me and Alice? All right.
This is the ugliest dive. I need to I need to cut the part where my legs are not together.
Can I cut to my screen real quick, man? It's okay. That was an awesome moment. Alice was freaking awesome. Everybody's got something hiding in the back of their mind. Everybody's got something up their sleeve. Yeah. Da-da-da-da-da-da. He was fantastic.
I wonder if I can like push, like go like this and just move it over. No, what if I get like one of these?
So Steph, very funny that you say that. So I brought my older son to the show first concert, and I let him meet Alice first, and he's a huge fan. And Alice was choking him, and then what was so cool was that he's like, all right, now you choke me. So this fantastic picture, and Alice is like, it's so great. And he was so awesome. Anyway, so we started talking. I met it, and we're, you know, it's a meet and greet, and we're talking music and all this other stuff. And I was like so just in awe that they had this connection, that we got a really nice photo, but I forgot to have him choke me because I was just so like, he did it.
That's not something you hear every day.
That's right. It is. That sounds odd and out of context. That would be very strange. But he was just a magnificent performer, and the true definition of show.
That's so cool.
True definition of show. Yeah, Steph, it's not with all, you know, that it's the ones who kind of know, you know. In fact, if you know, I was Alice. I did a gig as Alice Cooper.
Did you really?
I did in December, and I took photos with probably 1,000 people, and I kept telling them that I would take the photo with them, but I had to choke them, and most of them were Adobe employees, so it was really funny. Really, really funny.
That's so funny. Oh, that's so sweet.
All right, April, when did you see Alice? I want to know.
I need to change.
You can say the album, and then I'll tell you the year, or you can just say the year. Or whichever. If it's the 80s, if it's the 90s ones, I'm a little looser on those. But if it's anything from 69 to Constrictor,
Oh my gosh, it's
or
almost
slightly
been
after Trash,
over. Wait, how would I correct
raise
this?
your fist and yell.
How would I correct this?
Okay, what are you trying to do?
Because this is the shot I want it to look like,
Right,
and this is very, very blue.
right.
Help me,
Okay. So again, this is where now
professional.
colorist. So there's a lot of green in here.
Yeah.
So you could do,
I lowered the tint a little bit.
yeah, so you could do that, but then it's also gonna start sort of affecting your skin tone a little. You see your body's getting a little green there.
Oh, is it this that what I should do?
So I was actually gonna say maybe go into curves and see, yeah, and see if you can go into the greens and see what that. Now again, it's gonna affect your skin a little, so
Yeah.
you wanna be careful. The other option is maybe try pulling out a little bit of the blue. I don't find it that irritating, and in fact, maybe you could segue these two shots almost like overlay style, so that they blend.
I could like that. Mm-hmm. Well, here's what it goes
Yeah,
from.
let's see what. See, the difference here is that
See, it
the
goes
exposure is very different.
Yeah.
So if you raise the exposure, maybe you make this one a little bluer, and maybe bring up some of the highlights, because the exposure is significantly, it's several stops down here. Right?
Yeah, you're right.
So if you brighten this up a little, you'll have a little more latitude with kind of homogenizing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we've watched me edit it enough.
Yeah.
Not that we need to edit the
No.
whole
It's
thing.
coming together, and we still got another approximately 28 minutes. So you're making great progress.
Thanks.
Okay, early 70s. So April. Let's see. So you could have seen him on, the Killer Tour, perhaps. Love It to Death. School's Out. We're talking $1 Billion Babies. We're already in 73. I don't think they toured Muscle of Love, right? So, that would be pretty neat. Skyhawk, you met Prince Charles.
That's really cool.
That's pretty freaking awesome. Wow, shook his hand too. That's quite amazing. School's out, $1 Billion Babies. Very nice. That's the tour, and that is in fact right. That was the same. So again, maybe like late '72 or '73ish, where they effectively filmed the movie that came out shortly thereafter, which is hilarious and super cool. Only Women Bleed, which, by the way, that of course that's coming from the Welcome to My Nightmare album, and he's brought that back into his set these days, and I saw him do it. I have a little clip of him singing it, and fan bloody tastic. I mean, so good. Vocals just so good, and he just killed it.
Yeah, what was the best concert you've ever been to?
That would be a hard one to say. So I saw Queen with Adam Lambert. They did opening night in Phoenix in June.
Oh, cool.
And I've got to be honest, that was off the freaking hook. Adam Lambert. I mean,
really?
I knew he was great. I wasn't like a fan of his music prior, but he extremely talented. Let me put it this way. He was so good. And by the way, rocking guyliner, that I had to hashtag full on man crush because he was so good.
Really?
He was so good, and he was so humble, and he was so gracious to the audience and grateful for the opportunity to perform with one of his favorite bands of all time, Queen. And he's like, I'm not Freddie Mercury. I know. Yeah. Believe me, no one can be Freddie. Just thank you for giving me this opportunity. And then he just tore it up.
Wow, I would love to see that.
It was amazing. I mean, they've already been to LA, so yeah, you missed the show, unfortunately. And I got to see that front row.
YouTube.
It's on the YouTubes.
YouTubes.
And I was front row for that, and it was amazing. So that was amazing. Alice just now was kick-ass. I've seen a lot of really great shows. A lot of rock shows. I mean, I'm more of a rock.
A rock kind of guy.
Rock kind of guy.
Right. My computer is not having us color correcting.
Is it barfing a little? Now again, now you're in full playback, so you could go into eighth, but you're in full pause, so that's fine. So you're seeing every pixel, all the detail when you're stopped on a frame, and then when you play through it, it'll just be more pixelated. But so you're trying to match the tonalities now?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Getting better.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn close.
It's a lot better than what it was.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably now add in a little more green now into the other shot.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and I would even say bring up the highlights a little on this one.
Mm-hmm. And add some green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could probably even bring the highlights up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah. Look at them bubbles. I'll tell you, my favorite part about the shot is the detail of the bubble. Like the iPhone. Crazy. It's crazy.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That bird's eye shot, my friend was standing right here, and then I swam underneath. And that's how we got that bird's eye shot. It's a pretty cool shot. Last 20 minutes, I know. I feel like I don't want to stare at my computer anymore, and I want to hang out. Oh, that's cool.
That's Alice. Yeah, wait, I was looking for Only Women Bleed, since someone mentioned it.
So when's the next time you guys are doing something live? You said you guys do something the next live is in Germany?
Actually, well, it'll be here first, and then we'll have another one in Germany for XD. And Cedric, you and Chris are definitely my biggest Bubblecano fans. But I must admit too, it's one of my personal favorites, and that was written and recorded here in the studio, live when we had Mike Gabori and Grant Skinner building that game. So I sincerely appreciate that. And for Steph, here you go. This is Only Women Bleed. Okay, we don't own rights to that, so we can't show any more. But that was just me, loving this guy right here. And this is from his latest album, Paranormal, which is also kick-ass.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I just saw Frank Ocean, which I don't know if anyone here's a fan, but oh my gosh.
How was that?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It was just like so gut-wrenching to watch, like such a raw emotion live. And I actually I was pretty drunk when I saw him. Not gonna lie. I don't know if I can say that out
I've
loud.
heard he's very good live though.
Yeah, but I just remember like leaving myself notes like in my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like reading my notes the next day, and I was just like writing things to myself like, wow, I just had a crazy moment. Frank Ocean just decoded himself IRL, and like just all these things, because like I loved his album, but I never like, it wasn't like on repeat. I was like, oh wow, this is great music. But after seeing him live, it just instantly made me like feel him, understand him, and like all of his songs like on a crazy high emotional level.
I totally get it.
So wow, I was just Starbies. I love Frank. Ooh, I'm like re-listening to Ivy right now because it's so good.
Yeah, it's really good. Oh, and Starbies does too. Yeah. Oh yes, Chris, thank you. I know I saw your tweets about that. It's a lot of work doing like sound design for games, and let alone coding it and drawing all the characters and everything else. Kibosh Alice is a legend, absolutely. And in the same way that Rachel was just talking about Frank Ocean, I mean, to see him do his thing, and then to meet him afterwards, it's once again, it's what performers are. You know, you step into this, and from the moment he's on stage, he's on, and he's Alice.
So cool.
And it changes. You know, there's Alice that's like sneering and snarling and whipping, and then there's like the tender Alice, which is the same Alice, but it's just this. Yeah, you feel it, and he's so freaking good live. Vocally, his band is just completely kick-ass. Yeah, it's really something else.
What's Bubble Cano?
Bubble Cano was a game, so we had a game development live stream here a year and a half ago, and basically, so we had these two guys, Grant Skinner, Mike Gabori, and we had the chat. It was like, okay, we're gonna make a video game. We're gonna make a game. What should we call it? And the chat, the chat came up with like something about bubbles, something about volcanoes. Volcano. Okay. And then, so these two guys, they were coding and drawing and making the game.
How cool.
And my task was to do the sound for the game, but because I'm a composer, I'm like, oh, and I'll write a theme song for the game. So I composed a theme song on set and recorded it, and then did the sound design, and then we put it all together at the end, and you can play it online.
That's really cool. I finished everything. Put an adjustment layer over this.
Feed my Frankenstein. That's right, Steph. Another good one. Is that from 91, Hey Stupid? That's the name of the album. I'm not saying that to someone. Yeah. Oh, Trash Dash. Yeah. So good. Feed My Frankenstein is back in the set list too. It's a crowd pleaser. He opened with Brutal Planet. He got some Alice fans in here, which was, wow, like that's from 2000. It was awesome. It was hard too. It was like really heavy. All right, wow, yeah. Okay, so now are you doing, you put an adjustment layer on just now?
I put an adjustment layer on, so,
okay. So now, again, now that you've kind of treated everything individually, do you just do, again, basic adjustments? Or is this where do you use a LUT here? See, for me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to use a LUT, even though I use LUTs an individual.
Yeah,
I want to kind of put it over
you can put a global
everything,
one.
But I also want to put a grain over too, like a moving grain. I have, I do have grains, like video grains that I can overlay. How would you go about it though?
Well, I mean,
you had some LUTs that you've downloaded that you showed me yesterday that were film grains.
Yeah, so I mean, well, no, those were plugins. So right, so you don't have those
see.
plugins, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, if you've got video overlays, it depends. You probably want to put them below the adjustment layer so that you're also adding a little more color to the grain too. And then what you'll have to just do is sort of like copy paste, drag those out so that because they're only about 10 seconds each or something.
Yeah.
Right? So
I have like this. That might be a little too much though.
Yeah, that's like real old school film, right?
Really old school.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool if you want that look. Those are also, they look 4x3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we need to go on my screen. Oh.
Oh. It's okay. You got that. There we go.
I download this one, which is kind of.
Yeah, that could work. A little blotchy, but it could work.
Let's see. So we'll just one.
Yeah, so easier.
Punch it in.
Well, easier.
Undo
that. Just right click on it.
On this.
Undo scale to frame size.
Ooh. Amazing. Learn something new every day. Let's do overlay. That's nice.
That could do it. And then you'll just, you can either copy paste it or just alt drag it out.
Oh, that's really strong though. Let's just lower it down just like that.
Jason's wallpaper is right. Do you see? Normally, Evil Series, I actually have an image, but I was having to demo some things, and they're like, your background's in the way, so I just went fine.
That is a very Windows 95 wallpaper.
It actually, because I was like, all right, fine. Now you get nothing, right? Yeah.
It's a very specific color.
That's sort of funny. That's kind of funny, Chris. Thank you, Gus. Yes, any lingering questions? We've got approximately 14 more minutes until the end.
Until I'm gone and all you can see me is my edited version on
This
the YouTube.
Is the end. Beautiful friends. The end.
I wish you could sing that all the time.
Of all elaborate plans.
Is this your show or mine?
The end. All right, so do you want to drag, multiply that so you can use it and just see it over multiple clips?
Yeah.
So you can either copy paste or alt drag.
Oh yeah, I might just do that. There we go. Wee. Oops. Wee.
Trying to see any more. Coco taking so many helpful notes for editing. Oh, that's really great to hear.
Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you.
Keep watch nice and teal. Yes, this is one of the standard flat colors. Or default colors in the Apple workspaces.
Oops. I don't know if my computer will be able to render all this, but we'll try anyways, right? And let's see, what can we do on our adjustment layer? Let's add some faded film over everything. And let's add a LUTs. Did that work?
Look at that.
Yeah, just punch it up a little bit. Okay.
All right, now you're definitely gonna. We'll see how the performance goes here.
Yeah.
You have the sound off for now. Yeah, let's just take a look.
At 1/4.
Yeah.
Wow, the color looks so much better.
It's really good.
I've watched you struggle.
And very consistent,
thrive,
right?
Yeah.
Embrace, rebelled throughout all the years.
That shot looks really great now. That one still of the nail painting.
I know you're not a fan of
It needs some saturation or something.
It's a little flat for you?
It's a little flat. Just because it's coming out of something that's very rich. And then going into, again, this one where there's just a little bit more contrast, right, very rich color, deep color.
Where am I?
Yeah, it's struggling to catch up now.
I don't even know where it is. Is it here? No. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, that's this one right here. Some more saturation.
A little more saturation, and you know what? Maybe
Maybe
a little-
desaturate it and then add up vibrance, which is something you kind
yeah, or yeah, maybe just increase the black level a little. And drag it to the left. It'll take a second to kick in there. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe go like -20 something.
Did I do something? I can't really tell.
I think it's barfing. Yeah, it's just taking a minute. Maybe a slight vignette. Just to kind of, because you see what I mean? It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very white.
How do I vignette? Is it in?
No, it's at the bottom
Oh,
here.
I see.
And just the top slider, drag to the left. Sort of classic black vignette. So just kind of darkening the corners a
Yeah, that
little.
looks better.
Makes the middle punch out, but I think it still needs some more saturation. Don't do it because I'm just saying it for me. It looks like it needs, and yeah, maybe saturate. Oh, you don't even have a lot on there. Maybe try one of the film LUTs and see.
It's just such a flat. Gulp. Gulp. Just right-click in your video preview panel and lower the pause playback quality so it plays more smoothly. Right-click your video preview. This one?
Yeah, no, I mean it's okay. We have pause it at full, but we want it at full so we can see.
Oh, okay.
If we were paused at 1/4, you won't see the details. So
Right.
we're playing at 1/4, but that's okay.
Okay. Well, I'll play with this a little bit more. Oopsies.
All right, and we've got 8 minutes.
Rebelled throughout all the years. From awkward pubescent years to navigating the transition into adulthood, you've never stopped leaping through adversity and overcoming internal confrontation. Even more now, our world has become so
painful to
homogeneous
watch it like this.
that a singular screen becomes an estranged mirror to see everything at once. With these kinds of challenges, it's becoming harder and harder to hang on to your sense of self
Yeah, okay,
and aspirations.
let's not do that. All right, let's try this. Let's see.
Should we
I have
just
an
let
idea.
this thing?
Let's
do
render it.
that.
Well, let's render
the whole
it.
thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
and hopefully it won't take 8 minutes to do it. Maybe we'll get lucky. 5 minutes. There you go.
5 minutes.
All right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so in our last 7 minutes. So any questions additionally? So anyway, since we're gonna wait for this anyway, thank you for doing this.
Oh my gosh, I am so stoked to be able to do this. I'm really honored.
Yeah, no, it was really great, and today was fantastic, especially because I think too, we really got to see the whole story come together, but then really dive into how do we sort of keep yourself, your kind of traditional, that chicness in this, right?
Yeah.
Through color and again treating all these individual clips and finding
Yeah.
consistencies and
Yes.
making it work. I mean, this is also a little different than some of your other shoots too, because you're in so many locations, right? Like very different locations.
Yeah.
Underwater, you know, in
well,
the sky. Well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean,
High and low.
you're right.
Very high and low.
You've got actual extremes in altitude, in light. Yeah, almost everything here is naturally lit, right? There's like
Everything. Everything I do is mostly naturally lit, but
in general. But yeah, I mean, so I think allowing people to kind of see that process too is super powerful because it's still you, but how do you make sure that it kind of has that signature? And now this feels like an entry in that Chic canon.
oh, that's so sweet.
No, I think it does.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure that, like, aside from all of, teaching, like, about Premiere and stuff like that, it's just like I mean, why I love working with Adobe. I've said it before, but it's just being able to use this tool to just being able to create a mood.
Right.
Creating like a visual that really ties in with like the way I think. And, this video in particular might not be aesthetically like my most favorite along with the music and everything, but I just love it because it's something that like I think needs to kind of be addressed and talked about right now. And that's just like, this is a letter to not only my individuality, like everyone else's, that like, we need to remain ourselves and not be too influenced by like the world around us. And so, that's kind of really important to me.
No, it's great. And it's a great message. And I think, too, just having you on that first day. Nice. Okay. Having that first day. Oh, you know what? We just rendered the work area.
That's it?
Yeah, it's going to take a long time. We can try the rest. Let's see how. Yeah, that's going to take a while. Well, it's working its way down. You hear the fans start to kick in. Unfortunately, if we cancel it, it doesn't cache the frames that it's
I know,
already
that
rendered.
sucks.
That does suck. Hopefully we'll see that change at some point. All right, well, we'll see. We'll see how it's creeping up now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not
Well, we had kind of already seen it.
Kinda
I think
seen it,
it's I think my lasting message is not so much like the result of this video, like
Right.
the components of color correcting.
Right.
It's just like the story you're telling
Right.
using the tools. And I think, again, that's what I want to be more known for, not so much like the editing component
Right.
or being like, oh, I just do fashiony things. But, I started this because I saw a huge niche in a world where, it just kind of like can get really vapid.
Yeah.
And just being able to tell this story of like how I felt and what was going on through my head, and being able to share that and kind of offer a different perspective of like maybe someone is feeling really confused. Like there's tons of people that watch my channel that are like much, much younger, like going out of college.
Right.
So like maybe to not this community who's probably like a little bit older, but a lot of the girls that watch my channel are a little bit younger. They're a little bit trying to figure themselves out, and whatever I can do to produce something that, one, that they enjoy watching, but two, kind of can take a message out of that and like interpret it on their own.
Right.
It's like something that I live for.
Yeah.
Like
No,
that's what makes me so stoked.
Totally. And you talked about this on Make It too, where like, again, sort of the youngest generation that's on YouTube, but not, sort of the tweens, they're kind of not quite 13, 14, 15, but kind of getting there. And and you very openly share sort of some of in Make It, some of your restrictive childhood, a little bit there. Right. There's an identity that I think people can, there's an identity they can identify with. There's a truth and a story that they can identify with, and they identify with it because you're just very honest about it, and you're just like, yeah, that's just how it is. So I'm going to tell it this way, but actually there's a bright side to it.
Yeah.
You definitely add the brightness to it.
Oh,
and
good.
spin it in a positive way.
Yeah,
And
that's definitely what I try to do. I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer on the
No.
interwebs, but
It comes off. And hey, listen, things can be dark, but and actually, again, this is interesting too. And this we said at the very beginning. With that other music, and this was something that DW talked about. Think about yesterday. I mean, it's so different now with this soundtrack.
Right, yeah. And brightening the tracks a little bit.
Right,
And like
absolutely.
bringing up
And
the shadows.
the shadows, and adjusting the highlights, because and I think that's part of it too, especially those first two shots where
Yeah.
you had this like beautiful, I love that plane shot, and then you went to this like blown out sky high contrast. It was
A little much, yeah.
It was right, and then that melancholy music changes the mood. Now the mood really feels like you just landed, and you're going into this kind of wilderness.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Right. Yeah. And it's unknown.
Yeah, it's unfolding rather
it's
than
unfolding,
like
that's right.
having like just this initial
Right.
like
Dark upon you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
totally.
So, yeah, Joanna, you get sucked into video with work stuff, incorporate it's nice, your outlet to communicate and inspire, totally. And that's not easy to do. It's hard to sometimes, and I imagine, Do you have a lot of people that you review your stuff with, or do you kind of, you're your own reviewer and then you put it out there?
I mean, I have some friends that like look at it.
Right, but not every video, I'm sure.
No,
right?
no.
That's hard. That's 10 times harder. I mean, it's really hard to be, you're your own worst critic.
Yeah.
And you lose objectivity very easily.
Totally.
I'm the first, like you were saying, I'll do something, we'll mix something and get to it, and we think it's done, and then it just sucks. So forget it. Well, my friends, we are out of time, so I'm going to say this. Thank you so much for watching us all week. It's been our pleasure to host you, Rachel. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you, with your missing middle right there. And again, you can watch all the replays of this week's incredible guests right here on YouTube, Adobe Creative Cloud. So take care, have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Adobe Live in a couple weeks. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.